Mr. Howell, I understand that people have been calling looking for a missing file, and the file that you'd be looking for that you no longer have in your office is my son Joshua Klaver's file. The Sheriff's Department knew about the abuse for years before he died. They refused to investigate his death. They came to my home 22 months after Joshua died and told me that they were going to have a full investigation. Then they gathered all the information and they shut me down. And I was in contact with your office at the time, Dale Sanderson. And he told me that Josh's file would never be closed. And you no longer have his file. And I want to know why, where it's at, and how would a file on a child's death that your office told me would never be closed is missing. I want to know where it's at. I demand to know where it's at. And I want your office to take action on the Sheriff's Department. They came to my home 22 months after Joshua died, and they told me they were having a full investigation. What I know now is they came to my home, and because the Child Death Review Board pushed Joshua's death out for review. They took all the information. They sent crime scene investigators out to the barn where he died for the first time 22 months after he died. And they gathered up all that information. They talked to me. They finally talked to his father, and then they turned over that information to the Child Death Review Board as information gathered at the time of death. And I want to know what your office is going to do about it. We've been in contact. Your office knows me very well. I've been dealing with the Attorney General's office, and I want to know what you're going to do. Sheriff Smith knew about the abuse of my son. She lied. The Klaver trilogy, you look at that. The Sheriff's Department went into a court of law and lied to a judge about the investigation that was supposed to be happening on Josh's death before you shut me down.
Who was the judge, Kathy?
The case that in the Klaver trilogy is a workman's comp case with Joshua's father, and if you read it, the date it started was the month November 1990 when the Sheriff's Department came to my home and talked to me, asking me questions if Josh knew how to make a real hangman's noose rope. Did I know about a confrontation that happened in the car between Josh and his father after he stole him from my home? Josh died the night before. The first time in all the years we spent in family court, he was going to see a judge, and he died. The night before, he was going to speak to a judge about his father, a Santa Clara County Sheriff's deputy, and your office did nothing.
Is he currently a sworn police officer?
He's retired.
Okay. Would you like to state his name or no?
No.
Okay, no problem. So, how do you feel, or how do you believe we know when we've confirmed that the case file has disappeared from the district attorney's office. In what manner do you believe that the investigation on the DA's end has been mishandled?
When I first contacted them, when the Sheriff's Department shut me down 22 months after Josh's death, when they came to my home, the Sheriff's Department told the woman homicide deputy that came to my home, I was in phone contact with her for a very long time after they came out. And one day when I called her, she said to me, she goes, I've been told I can't speak to you anymore. So as any information that's happening now about what we've gathered, I can't share anything more with you. So I called the DA's office, and I spoke with Dale Sanderson. And he went to the Sheriff's Department, and he came back to me and he told me that because of the refusal to investigate Josh's death, it would be impossible to build any kind of case because there was no information gathered, and 22 months after his death was too late to start to look into this.
Okay, let's go back a few sentences there. You said a homicide investigator had told you that she couldn't speak to you? Or somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know who issued those orders? Where the orders came from?
They came from her boss, the captain of the homicide division.
Okay.
And what I know now by the Klaver trilogy is that the orders came from above.
Okay.
It says in the Klaver trilogy that the issues surrounding when they came to my home and what caused his father to go into a workman's comp court, because the sheriff's department made him use up all his sick and vacation time when they were investigating him for Josh's death. And they went into a workman's comp court, and the article actually says there was apparently some kind of investigation, and the courts came down firmly on the side of his father, stating that the sheriff's department offered no explanation whatsoever for the investigation that happened.
Okay. Clarify it for me, because I don't know everything. It's a lot more complicated than something. I only started to learn about the story. Do you believe that the courts sided on behalf of the father because of the DA's office investigation being handled inappropriately?
In the family court system, before Josh's death, the courts would not assist us. The first judge, James Stewart, that came back with findings of child abuse. Josh's father was not allowed to be alone with Joshua. Within a week and a half, the family court system reversed their decision and started forcing me to sentence Josh back out to his father's.
What happened in that week and a half time period?
The no contact rule was in place.
Okay.
His lawyers, they went in, and I don't know how. I never received any kind of paper filing from the courts telling me why they reversed their decision, but I know why. It's because he was the sheriff's deputy.
But did they meet in private?
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know.
Are you able to confirm that they had any sort of private communications during this period, the week and a half period, when the...
I know nothing. I don't know. I don't know how they were able to go into the courts and get that reversed without me. If his father's lawyer was involved, I don't know. And I have never. I couldn't understand why that would happen. You know, that they would reverse themselves so quickly.
Right.
After he was not even to the point where he wasn't even allowed to be with Josh alone, without court supervised personnel there. Okay.
The week and a half time period that we're just talking about, can you specify as specific as possible when that time period began and when it ended? Just that week and a half time period in the courts.
When we first got the filing from the family courts, listing the child abuse findings, how what they wanted the case to be handled. I received that file, and it was actually just a week and a half later, I got a phone call from my attorney telling me that the courts reversed themselves and I was to start sending Josh to his father. I didn't get any record. I didn't get a document telling me this. It was information. My attorney was contacted, and she was telling me that.
So that something happened between those two court dates?
Yes.
What were the dates of the two court dates? If you have to approximate, that's fine. I mean, but if you can be specific, that'd be great.
Josh died January 1990, and we've been in and out of family court for at least 3 years.
Okay.
So, time frame would have been 85. It was 1985.
Okay. Sometime in 1985.
Yes.
Could it have possibly been 84 or 86? Is it possible? Okay, yeah.
My daughter was born right around that time, so I'm trying to dig in the dates as far as I would say I'd say probably 86 then.
Right.
You know,
so
bounce in the time frame around.
Okay, I gotta go in a minute, but we can't do anything to bring Josh back, right?
I'm not getting any justice.
And we can't reverse the pain. We can't do anything about that. But what we can do is we can try to use this to make something good come out of it. You know what I'm saying?
There's not any little Joshua's.
Oh, I know. We can't change that. But what we're doing now is whatever we can to bring something beautiful out of that ugliness. That's what we got to do, right? Okay. Great to see you. I'm glad you made it over. Okay. So.